Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and good evening, and welcome to the Hope Effect, the virtual fundraiser by ACF of Metro Atlanta. It is the very first of its kind, and we are very glad that you could join us. Tonight marks a historic moment, a moment where compassion meets action, generosity that can change lives right from here in Metro Atlanta to communities across Africa and the Caribbean. For more than 3 decades, Africa's Children's Fund, as we were known in 1993, was started by a humanitarian and educator, Mr. Victor Mbaba, and he has been steadfast on this journey, providing food, housing assistance, and of course, empowering young people through education programs, mentorship, scholarships, and the likes here in Metro Atlanta, in Africa, and the Caribbean. So this evening, we're not going to be having too much conversations or talks. It's going to be about opening your wallets and, of course, opening your purses and having that credit card and that debit card ready to make a contribution to the work of ACF of Metro Atlanta. Now, for us to begin, I would like to invite the President and CEO of ACF of Metro Atlanta, Mr. Victor Mbaba, to join us. And before I do that, I just want to apologize for starting a little bit late. We're going to get it right as we do it more often. As I mentioned, it's our very first edition, and thank you for your patience. So, Mr. Mbaba, thank you very much for joining me this evening. And let's talk a little bit about ACF of Metro Atlanta. We started off with Africa's Children's Fund, and earlier on this year, the organization became ACF of Metro Atlanta. But give us a little bit of background. What was your why when you began this journey 32 years ago?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Victor Ayara and Mr. Dennis Ubom. Thank you so much for this premier program. And as we all hear in the adage that every journey begins with one step, as we know. So this is a beginning, and we're going to grow. And another adage says that practice makes improvement, perhaps not perfect. So we're definitely going to grow and improve, and this will be a stellar virtual event that connects meaningful persons with compassion who wants to make a difference in the life of other human beings. So thank you so much for doing this. Yes, you're right. From the inception, we were called Africa's Children's Fund for a reason. The vision I saw at that beginning was for us to create an organization that will be inclusive of all of us. And so that's what we call Africans and not African. And we are a target program areas to be the Metro Atlanta of United States and selected countries in Africa and the Caribbean. But a few years after that, we started other chapters of the organization. For instance, we have Africa's Children's Fund Nigeria. We have Africa's Children's Fund Ghana, which the short form would be ACF Nigeria and ACF Ghana. And we didn't want it to be a misnomer that we spend about 90 percent of our funding in Metro Atlanta, and our name still remain Africa's Children's Fund. So that is why we decided to make the change. Since we already have those other locations, we changed it to ACF of Metro Atlanta to signify that our work and the donations we receive from patrons in Metro Atlanta allow us to serve our brothers and sisters right here in metropolitan Atlanta.
Thank you so much. And so far, just give us a little bit of what is when you look back over the years, what would you say has been the impact of this work in the local metro area community? If you want to look in terms of numbers, in terms of people who have been touched and affected by the programs.
For 32 years, we have made impacts in 16 countries in Africa and the Caribbean, and 29 counties in metropolitan Atlanta. The total number of persons that have been impacted by our work is 231,000. Approximately 100,000 of that is in Metro Atlanta through our work in the area of education, that's youth development, housing. Those are the main areas of activities in Metro Atlanta. And that is a global number. But if we were to do singular narrative of our impact, I'll be safe to say that our work has actually helped save life of persons and families in Atlanta, people that we have helped them overcome domestic violence by providing safety, housing, employment, and people that were in very desperate and destitute situation, and our work helped them to survive and thrive. So in singular manner, we have individual cases that we can put our fingers and see how their life have changed for better. But globally, about 100,000 persons have been served since we started in 1993.
Wow, thank you so very much. And yes, if you're just joining us, this is the Hope Effect, the virtual giving night, the very first of virtual fundraiser by ACF of Metro Atlanta, formerly known as Africa's Children's Fund. And speaking of impact, Mr. Mbaba has mentioned over 300,000 lives have been affected in the 32 years that this organization has been in existence. Now, before you're going to hear about a young lady who was, I would call her a brave woman, who once felt trapped in an abusive marriage, in an abusive relationship, and she had no way to turn. Through the compassionate support of Africa's Children's Fund, as we were known then, because you're going to hear us use those two names, ACF of Metro Atlanta and Africa's Children's Fund, interchangeably, it is the same organization. But we're going to hear her story later on. But first, we have a song, which is a song of hope. Everything that the ACF is about hope. It's about giving hope to children. It's about giving hope to families. Knowing that families form the very basic unit of any society. We have to build and lift up families. And this is a song of hope, which is a song by ACF of Metro Atlanta. Happy viewing.
Little eyes filled with tears, families struggling, facing fear, hunger pangs and broken dreams. Life's unfair, it often seems, but we can make a change. Ignite a spark of hope, yeah. We can make a change. Create a future bright. Oh, ACF of Metro Atlanta, giving hope to children and families.
The very last part of that song says, "Together we can make a difference." And I just want to bring back Mr. Mbaba, who is someone I've come to love and respect, a lot of admiration for what he represents, an educator, someone who has been a school teacher, who has seen it all in the classroom. And I'm always, even though I've heard the story before, but I always like to, go back to the early beginnings of ACF of Metro Atlanta. Mr. Mama, tell me, what was it? You talked about in my conversation with you some time ago, you talked about the point of need and the point of hope. Tell us about what you saw that made you realize that this is what I want to do. This is how I want to live my life. This is the kind of difference I want to make in the world. Tell us about that.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Yara. And I think the story can go this way that if you are a child, like let's say you are 10 years old, and you know that you need to eat 3 times a day, and but for the next 2 years of your life, from the age of 10 to 12, you manage to eat only once, and the food is not even square on your plate. And then you manage to grow and become 18 years old and move from where you were to another location, and you see people eating 3 times a day, and you are part of that, and you eat 3 times a day, and you say, "Oh my goodness, this is life." And then you try not to forget that where you were, where you moved from, people are eating only once a day. So that's the beginning of all this. That at some point, I myself, I was in dire need. And so, as I said to my children, I said, well, you can think that I escaped poverty. Well, that might be true. So I left the destitute type of life by God's grace. So I came here. I see the opportunities, and with the blessings of God, I was a teacher, so I'm doing well. And so when I finally saw the vision to establish this, it was to help persons that were in the situation or are in situation that I was. So that was the driving factor, the driving force behind establishing ACF in 1993.
Thank you so very much. And that we can continue. We can say that you have not stopped caring since 1993. You still keep caring, which is why I am going to appeal to all of us who are on this broadcast this evening to please get your card ready. We are going to display the Zelle information. It's going to be Africa's Children's Fund, and the email address is going to be vmbaba at Africa's Children's Fund. Whatever you are able to send this evening is going to go a long way. For this event, we are committing 100% of what is being realized to homeless people, to emergency housing, because trust me, the weather is changing. And when the weather changes, it becomes cold. When it becomes cold, people who are homeless, the unhoused population in Atlanta Metro, they really need your help. So tonight, we are trusting that you will help us to donate whatever you can. And we know that, times are tough. But guess what? Most of the people who have given historically, at least from what I know, most people never give from a place of abundance. They give from a place of sacrifice because they bear the burden. They feel the burden of the next person. So, gentlemen and ladies, boys and girls, if you're watching this broadcast, it is time to give to ACF of Metro Atlanta. You're going to hear stories. We're going to bring you some stories. I think the very first one is going to be of Margaret Atom. Margaret Atom is a brave woman. Like I mentioned earlier on, she and her young son were trapped. She was trapped in an abusive relationship where domestic violence was involved. And She has a young son, and they couldn't do anything because, in most cases, what happens when people are in these situations, they cannot leave because they can't afford to leave. A lot of times they are dependent on the support or the resources that the abusers provide for them. And it becomes a very difficult situation. We don't pray, we don't hope that any of you would be in this situation. But that was Margaret's story. And so, through the help of ACF of Metro Atlanta, Africa Students Fund, as we were known at the time, she was able to leave that situation. Today, she is free and standing tall, and she is using her voice to advocate for other survivors. Our journey is that of hope. It also reminds us that when we nurture hope, we can heal and we can restore. Here is the story of Margaret Etam.
Every 9 seconds, a woman in the United States experiences domestic violence. According to Emory University School of Medicine, 85% of intimate partner violence victims are women. Many, like Margaret Etam, feel trapped, unable to escape due to financial dependence and fear. For Margaret, the abuse became unbearable. She feared for her life, but had nowhere to go.
My name is Margaret Etam. 2020, I came in contact with somebody who introduced me to African Children's Fund because I was in a domestic violent marriage. And I needed help to get out from the problem.
The weight of hopelessness pushed her to the edge.
Every time of my life, I was thinking of committing suicide, but the only thing that kept me moving was my 5-year-old son. So one day, I met somebody introduced me to African Children's Fund. I would say African Children's Fund was my Messiah because already I have lost it. I have lost my self-esteem, I've lost my dignity, I've lost everything. The only thing was I was just moving, but it wasn't me. African Children's Fund came to rescue me, put me somewhere for 5 weeks, and later got me an apartment in Clayton County.
Under the care of Africa's Children's Fund, Margaret found not only shelter, but also the strength to reclaim her self-worth, dignity, and independence. Today, Margaret no longer lives in fear. She has found her voice and is using it to advocate for women who, like her, once felt trapped. Your support makes stories like Margaret's possible. Help us change more lives. Donate today.
Well, that is the story of Margaret Etam, and every time I watch this story, even though our team produced it, it still makes me feel really, really emotional because I can imagine the fear that she had to go live through. I can also imagine what it means to fear for your life. I can also imagine what it means to be on the verge of considering ending it all. And I just want to reach out. I don't know who is listening tonight. Please, if you have been touched by this story, you can do something for so many other women like Margaret who are just hanging on. Sometimes it's not a domestic violence. Sometimes it's just life happening. And as much as we want to help people, we need help ourselves to do so. Resources are scarce, and we need your help. That is why tonight we're reaching out and asking whatever you are able to contribute. Zelle information is Africa's Children's Fund, and the email is vmbaba at Africa's Children's Fund. You can also use the link in the link in the on the page where you're watching this from. We should be able to make that donation from there. But in the meantime, we're still opening that line for Zelle. If you can make that Zelle, that would be helpful. And we're going to scroll that shortly and making sure that that happens. We're going to share that Zelle information shortly. It's Africa's Children's Fund, and the email is vmbaba at Africa's Children's Fund. And please, let's get this going. And we still have more stories. As a matter of fact, like we promised, it's going to be about real people who have been impacted in over 33 years of Africa's Children's Fund, which of course began with the vision of one man who cares enough and still cares enough to think about others who need help. Every time we walk across the street, there are people who can barely feed. And that is why if you go to our website, acfma.org, you're going to see Project Excel, which is all about education. You're going to see Bags of Hope, which is all about food and nutrition. And of course, the emergency housing program, which has been on. And of course, just recently, we also have shipped some books to Africa. And let me talk to Mr. Mbaba about that, because there is still a big need. Mr. Mbaba, tell us about the books program. When did you start with that initiative to get books to places where those books are most needed in Africa?
Yes, I know I use some kind of analogy when I was referring to food, eating once as opposed to twice. It was actually books. It was book famine, not real food. So it was the need to ship books to Africa that actually prompted me to start the organization, because when I visited Nigeria in 1992, I visited schools in my village and the schools that I attended somewhere else, and realized that the condition didn't change over the time, that there was still lack of books. And as a school teacher in Metro Atlanta, we had access to millions of books because of the book adoption process, whereby every 4 to 5 years, the school system discard books and award contract for new ones. So that prompted us to start the book project, and we call it the Gift of Book. It was started in 1994, 1 year after starting the organization. And we have shipped over 2 million books since then.
Wow. Over 2 million books.
That's correct.
Folks, 2 million books, that's a lot of books. That's a lot of books. I mean, if you think about books in a classroom, you think about books on a desk, on a shelf, but we're talking 2 million books. And I actually was able to witness one of the containers of books actually shipping out to Africa. And so over the years, over 2 million books have been sent to Africa. And I know that there is also a growing need even at this time. Besides books, what are the other things that that if the ACF of Metro Atlanta receives, we're still able to redistribute to schools besides books?
Yeah, that we are in the technology age at this point. And we can ship books all we want. We can give aid to Africa all we want, but that's not going to change the real situation of persons, particularly children and youth. So we are blessed to be in an advanced country such as the United States. And with the technology exploding around the world, we want to make sure that the children and youth in Africa, as much as we can touch, also have access to computers, laptops, and internet, where they can start coding and all those kinds of things. So very soon we are going to announce our distribution of laptop to schools, starting from here in Metro Atlanta. Two companies to be mentioned later on teaming up with us, donating their laptops for us to be able to bless a lot of households for their children to have laptops to do homework. And the excess will be shipped to also do the same thing to children in African countries, in the Caribbean.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mbaba. So there you have heard it. It's not just books, but we are also in line with global trends in technology and ICT and information technology education. Trust me, that's the future. So ACF of Metro Atlanta will also be shipping laptops and other equipment, iPads and tablets to schools in Africa and the Caribbean and other places. So please, we need your help. As far as the ACF is concerned, whatever you can give is appreciated. But tonight, we're calling you specifically for those brothers and sisters in Metro Atlanta area who are bracing for the change of weather. It is becoming colder. And for those of us that have a place to live, God has blessed us immensely, more than we can ever know. But there are people who need our help. They need our help to just have a place to lay their head that is warm. And to that, for that, we are asking you, please, if you're able to send that money through Zelle. It is Africa's Children's Fund, and the email address that Zelle account is tied to is vimbaba@Africa's Children's Fund. And you can be part of something great. You can make a difference. You don't have to be a billionaire. As you heard from Mr. Mbaba, he is not a billionaire or a millionaire. He wasn't one when he started this event, and I can assure he's not still one, but he's still doing the work. He's still doing the work from just having a heart that cares for other people. So please join us this evening if you can, and just make your donations. We would be glad. And as we receive those donations, we will also show appreciation. We will recognize you, except where you explicitly say, no, I want to give this anonymously, which we still appreciate. But this evening is all about children and families in Metro Atlanta area. Wherever you are, please make that donation this evening. Now, besides Mr. Mbaba, we also have some people who have been part of ACF of Metro Atlanta for some time now. And some of these people, to be honest with you, they don't really have to do what they do, but yet they do it. And one of such is someone I have come to know and I've come to respect a lot. He owns several franchises of McDonald's here in the metro area. And if you sit across from him, he is as simple as they come. He's a simple man, but he is someone you would like to know. I'm talking of no other than an entrepreneur and businessman, Mr. John Hurt, who is also a board member of ACF of Metro Atlanta. And we're going to have that video up for you in a moment. And we're going to have that video in a moment. And yes, we appreciate Mr. John Hurt. If you are watching wherever you're watching from, we do appreciate you. And I just have that video. We will be sending that over. And when I have a conversation with him, this is what he said. He said that he would really like it if other people who have been blessed would step back and appreciate how blessed they are and give back to others. He believes in what he says. He stands by what he says. He has never been one to not show up when we call on him. So here is my conversation with Mr. John Hurt. And probably what he says will, like we say in the Nigerian parlance, would ginger you to make a difference in someone's life today. Here is Mr. John Hurt.
About, of course, 5 years ago, I decided to join the board, and we had a board retreat. And at this retreat, Victor Mbaba invited a young lady and her family of kids to our lunch. And she was given an opportunity to speak. And oh my goodness, how she spoke about how the fund has helped her with getting a place to stay, and also providing meals for her and her family. And this is just one of the families that the fund has touched over the years. So I was so impressed with the kids and the mom, and they will seem to be so happy just to come and talk to us, the board, and get a good meal. So many other situations like this, but that really touched me to really get involved as a board member and give back to the communities we touch through the Africans Children Fund. I had the McDonald's owner-operator Yvonne Thomas invited me 12 years ago to the first banquet I went to, and on that night she was getting honored, and she invited me and my wife at her table. So that got it started for me. So other leaders can do the same thing. Reach out to their fellow leaders, their fellow people that they work with or whatever, and invite them to just see the organization, and hopefully they will get involved and be a part of the African Children's Fund.
Wow, 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 wow. We just want to say thank you, Mr. John Hurt, for who you are. Thank you for your big heart. Thank you for all the good things that you represent. You have shown us that it is not just making money, but making money and making a difference. So I would implore you, you may not be Mr. John Hurt, but who says you can't be? Because when the giving goes out and meets the needs of people who desperately need that help, guess what happens? The blessings come down from above. You never know. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call on you tonight. So please, you should have the Zelle information by now. We are waiting on those donations. Please do not say, oh, I don't have. I'm not a preacher man, but I do remember the story of the widow, where we have the phrase, the widow's mite. You know, when other people were giving out of a place of abundance, the widow was giving from a place of sacrifice, and God did honor that. Okay, I'm not going to be a preacher man now, but I just wanted to throw that in there. That don't say, oh, I'm not Mr. John Hurt. Okay, you're not going to say, oh, I don't own a series or many franchises of McDonald's. No, you don't have to be. But I'm just telling you that there are people out there who have absolutely no business in rallying our support for the poor and less privileged among us, whom the Bible says will always be amongst us anyways. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you can, if it is within your power to do so, let us do that. And I would like for us to go now and listen to some good music. There is actually a song. We're going to try to get the video out to you. It's one of the best songs that was ever written. And I have performed this song a couple of times. It's called Lean on Me by Bill Withers. So if the music is ready, and before we take that music, I just want to take a moment and appreciate our sound and visual engineer, Mr. Dennis Ubom, who is behind the scenes and making this happen. And thank you so much, Mr. Dennis. And for everything that goes right, we thank you. Everything that goes wrong, it is my fault. I take all the responsibility. But here is Lean on Me by Bill Withers.
But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can feel those of your needs that you won't let show. Why you just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. Hey, I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Now you just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. Hey, I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me. Call me if you ever need a friend. If you need a help and a hand, call me. Call me.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you are just joining us right now, this is the Hope Effect, a virtual giving night by ACF of Metro Atlanta. And I hope you enjoyed that song, Lean on Me, by Bill Withers. That song really is about our need to lean on each other. You can call on me, brother, when you need a hand. Now we need a hand. There are millions of people out there who need a hand, and you can definitely make a difference because you know what? Giving is more than charity. It is a reflection of our shared humanity. When we give to people in need, we're not just offering resources, we are restoring dignity, we're restoring hope, we're restoring the belief that someone still cares. Even the smallest act of kindness that you give can have ripple effects through generations. A meal that feeds a child today can actually inspire that same child to feed somebody else tomorrow. Now, you might just say, after all, it's just giving, but it's more than that. Think about a child that would have ended up a criminal or ended up a destitute or ended up, God forbid, a drug addict. But we were able, through your help, to provide for them. We're able to get them a stable accommodation, at least to give them somewhere to start. And that is why this matters. I'm going to ask you tonight, if you haven't given yet, the Zelle information is being displayed on our screen. Please go ahead and make that donation. We really, really need your help. We need your help in order to help others, because truly giving does not come from abundance, it comes from compassion. It's not about how much you have, it's about the love that you have that you want to share. And every time we reach out to the hungry, the displaced, the broken, we light a candle against the darkness of despair. And when many of us light our candles together, the world becomes a brighter, beautiful place, a little warmer and a little bit more human. That is what Mr. Mbaba saw in 1993 when he started ACF of Metro Atlanta, formerly known as Africa's Children's Fund. So if you haven't made that donation, this is the time. The Zelle information is being displayed. Please go ahead and send in, no matter the little donation that you have, no matter the big donation that you have. We appreciate you and we're waiting. Please do not try. I have some of my friends trying to call me or text me. Don't call me at this time. I am live. This is not a recorded event. And I'm going to ask Mr. Mbawa again. You have been in this for 32 years. What keeps you going? You are not as young as you used to be. What is that thing that keeps you going? Every time you wake up in the morning, that keeps you going. Every time you go back to bed at night, what is it? Tell us tonight.
Well, when I started the organization, I thought it was going to be something temporary. And when you look at need, we would pray hard that need is temporary, but unfortunately, there's always need. So when we always have points of need, there must always be points of hope. That's the only way. So if the need has ceased, I would have been retired and past the age. But for whatever reasons, natural occurrences, man-made disaster, just out of anything, somehow there's need in human history. And so since we are compassionate, we don't want to see our fellow brothers and sisters suffering. And not that we are saving the world, but as much as we can, we have to fill that need by providing points of hope. That's what gives me going.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Mbaba. And I applaud you for your consistency in this regard, which is very remarkable. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not something that only Mr. Mbaba is called to do. By the way, I just want to let you know that. And we appreciate every little help that we can get. And if you noticed, I'm not going to be political on this program, but there have been some changes which have caused us to come to you, and we will continue to come to you going forward, whether virtually or in person. As a matter of fact, we do have an event which is coming up on the 1st of November, which is called an Evening of Hope. An Evening of Hope is a yearly gala and fundraiser where we have the creme de la creme of Atlanta society in attendance at the Atlanta Evergreen Resort in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And do you want to tell us a little bit more about the Evening of Hope. I know that this has also been a long-running program of the ACF. Can you tell us a little bit more about an Evening of Hope, Mr. Mbaba?
Evening of Hope just had its name not too long ago. It used to be a Taste of the World, but the COVID-19 forced us to make it a sit-down dinner. Otherwise, it used to be an event where we have several chefs providing hors d'oeuvres for us to bring our patrons to enjoy and have good time and contribute to our cause. So Evening of Hope just started after the pandemic, and it is an event where we have good attendance, good food, entertainment, and people just donate to help us continue this work.
Okay, and this year we will be having the one of the most respected icons in the civil rights history of the United States, Ms. Zenona Clayton, who is well in her 90s actually, as the honorary chair of the event. And we will be having the Honorable Lorraine Cochran Johnson, the DeKalb County CEO, as our keynote speaker this year. And the event will also be hosted by Deidre Dukes, the legendary broadcaster with Fox 5 Atlanta. So you don't want to miss that. And we will share information of. You can also find information about this on our Facebook page and on our Instagram page. Of course, you can also find it on our website, acfma.org, acfma.org. You can find all of that information. And we also, we're not doing this alone. There are a lot of people who have supported us over the years. One of such is the Vineyards at Flat Shows, which have helped us as a partner in providing assistance in terms of rental assistance, in terms of emergency housing, in terms of sometimes we support people with paying their utilities, because believe it or not, when the weather gets hot, it's not funny if you don't have cooling. And when the weather gets cold, it's not funny if you don't have heat. So we have partners which we will be bringing. Just one of them, we have a video which is with the property manager of Vineyards at Flat Shows, Ms. Aisha Hooper. She has been the organization has been a partner with us over the years, and she has been instrumental in making sure that we are able to help as many people as we have the funding for. And we just want to show you that every time you give us money, you are giving to a good cause. And for an organization that has lasted for over 30 years, I can tell you one thing: there is credibility right there, there's integrity, and there's transparency. And we just want to appreciate all of you, all of our partners who have been with us and helped us to do this work over the years. Ms. Aisha Cooper, Hooper rather, with an H. If I said Cooper, I apologize, Aisha, that was not what I meant. But we're going to have a video of Ms. Aisha Hooper of Vineyard at Flat Shows, one of our partners who have helped us over the years with, we have provided utility assistance at their complex for people, families who truly need them. Here is Aisha Hooper.
My name is Aisha Hooper, and I work for the Vineyards of Flat Shows in Atlanta. I'm a property manager here, and over 5 years now, I work with Africa's Children Fund in assisting families get help from being homeless. In that time, they've helped over 50 families, and with your support, hopefully they'll be able to help many more in the future.
All right, that was Aisha Hooper of Vineyard at Flat Shows, and thank you very much for all that you do, Aisha. And we really appreciate all the help that we get from Vineyard at Flat Shows. You You guys have been a partner with us for over the years, and we have several of them. And as we do these events, we'll continue to recognize some of them. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you are yet to make that donation, we have the information. You can see the Zelle information. Go ahead and make that donation. We do sincerely appreciate those of us who can do it. And just as I mentioned, there have been some changes in government which have caused us as an organization to depend even more than we used to on donations from good, well-meaning individuals such as yourself. So please do not hesitate to bring out that card and bring out that phone in this age of electronic transfers. We use Zelle. It's a trusted platform for receiving donations. And you can see the information is Africa's Children's Fund with the email vmbaba@Africa's Children's Fund. You can send in whatever donation you have so that we can use this to help people who truly need help. And going back to this year's Evening of Hope for Children, I want to ask you, Mr. Mbaba, there are certain people that we would be honoring. One of them posthumously is Monsieur Brown, and a lot of people that I have spoken to have very great things to say about this gentleman who was not just a world-class innovator, an entrepreneur. He also had a golden heart. What can you tell us about our posthumous award recipient for this year's Legacy of Hope, Mr. Monsieur Brown?
Yes, thank you for your question. But I want to use this opportunity to remind us again that it's always said that no one on this earth is forgotten. No. When we miss someone through death, they are in our heart. They cannot be forgotten. So Monsieur Brown was with us until recently, and he was a successful businessman and a philanthropist. And he sowed a seed in our organization as well by donating and partnering with us in our work. So it was a place to remember him by honoring him posthumously and sounding a signal that we are always going to remember ourselves by the fact that the work that we do, the support that we give is a legacy. And that's why I remind us that even as an organization, Africa Children's Fund, now ACF of Metro Atlanta, having a legacy of helping, all of you who support us are part of that legacy because you give. And Monsieur Brown, though he had left us, is remembered for the work that he did. And as a matter of fact, even in his absence in this planet, he's still helping because of the foundation that is established to help children and families.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Mbaba. Just mentioning that we all are, whatever we do, even though we may live here, which of course is just the truth. Yeah. It's not about if, it's about when. We all will leave here someday, but the work and the legacy that we leave behind is even as important. And so we just want to thank the family of Monsieur Brown who have shared him with us while he was here and who continue to carry that legacy. And we wouldn't have thought of a better recipient of the Legacy of Hope Award. And while you and I are still here, hopefully we can use his name and his legacy as a point of reference. And we will also give tonight to help homeless people in Metro Atlanta, give tonight to help our brothers and sisters who depend on us to fill those gaps when society and when the economy fails them. We step in and help. That is what we're all about. And just so, if you haven't heard this beautiful song about ACF, it's called ACF Song of Hope. If you haven't heard this song, here is a video of ACF Song of Hope. While you're listening to this song, please get your card ready to make that donation to Africa's Children's Fund using the email address vimbaba@Africa's Children's Fund. We bank on your support, and we hope that this song will minister to you, will speak to your soul about giving us something tonight. Happy listening and viewing.
Little eyes filled with tears, family struggling, facing fear, hunger pangs and broken dreams. Life's unfair, it often seems, but we can make a change. Ignite a spark of hope, yeah. We can make a change. Create a future bright. Oh, ACF of Metro Atlanta, giving hope to children and families. ACF of Metro Atlanta, we help them stand, we help them grow. ACF of Metro Atlanta, giving hope to children and families. ACF of Metro Atlanta, together we can make a difference.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that song, ACF Song of Hope. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can make a difference. There is this adage that says, if you want to go alone, you will go fast. But if you want to go far, you will go. If you go together, we'll go far. All right? If you go alone, you will go fast. But when we go together, we'll go far. I say that to say that just by myself, I can do a little. By yourself, you can do a little. But together, our collective efforts would yield far more results. So even if we have everybody giving $1 and we have 10,000 people giving $1, you can see the ripple effect, the cumulative effect of that, of that collective effort. And so I want to talk to you, Mr. Mbaba, about ACF presence in Africa and the Caribbean. Not only did you start this nonprofit in the U.S., in Atlanta, you took the work all the way to Africa. Tell us about the footprint of the organization over the years, specifically on the continent of Africa.
As I stated, we established the organization in 1993. In 1994, we shipped the first book, container of books, to Liberia. And that was because after the civil war in Liberia, schools were destroyed, there were no books. And so we helped by sending books that were very important in education at that time for the country. So from books, we also responded to the needs of the orphans, the 8 orphans, especially around 2000, 2001, which was the peak of the AIDS pandemic in Africa, particularly in Uganda and South Africa. We responded to that need by establishing a program called the AIDS Orphans Project, where we give food scholarship to centers that were taking care of orphans and provided scholarships as well. And we've done scholarship to non-orphans, but of course to children who really need them. And just lately, 3 years ago, we started a program to fund individuals by giving them small funds, money, to start business or expand existing ones. So we call this the Micro Enterprise Fund for our organization. And this is going very well because here again is really helping us to help people do it for themselves so they can provide food for their families, school fees for their children, and don't have to depend on someone else to pay school fees by way of scholarship. So our work in Africa is essentially the book project, the AIDS Orphan project, the food and the scholarship and micro enterprise funds that we established 3 years ago.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mbaba. It makes a lot of sense. And just if you're just joining us now, this is the Hope Effect, and we are trying to raise money for ACF of Metro Atlanta to enable this 32-year-old organization continue in its very much needed work of helping families in need, vulnerable families, kids, women, and children here in Africa or here in the Metro Atlanta who really need your help, especially as the weather is changing. It is getting colder. People are going to need a place to sleep. People are going to need heating, and people are going to need food. Will you help today? Will you be one of those who say, you know what, I am going to put something down? And you don't have to give everything today. You can give us some today. You can give us on a monthly basis if that's what you choose. We would really appreciate, no matter what you, whether it's small, whether it's big, it doesn't matter. We would really love to hear from you. And as you're watching this program, if there's something you want to tell us as well, we welcome your input. And you can email us directly at info@acfma.org. That is info@acfma.org. We appreciate your feedback. If there's anything, especially regarding this program that we're doing, which we will be doing on a more regular basis, we're going to be coming to you. And we know that you are a good person, you have a good heart. You are looking for someone to support. You're looking for a credible organization to give your funds to, one that you trust would not misappropriate your funds, ones that you trust that those monies would go straight to the recipients, the people that are supposed to receive it. So, Mr. Mbaba, you mentioned about something about giving, helping people with microcredit, loans, not even loans, grants actually, because they're not expected to pay back. And we have a fantastic story that we're going to share with you shortly. But just so you know that our Zelle information is Africa's Children's Fund, and you can use the email vmbaba@Africa's Children's Fund to actually reach out and send that money so that we can help as many people as we can. Now, we are going to bring you the story of a young lady, Regina Ignatius Solomon, a young tailor from Esien Udem in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Her story represents the spirit of resilience. She is a tailor, but she never had anything to even start her business. So despite her talent, she was held back by unemployment and, no money to start up. But that is where ACF of Metro Atlanta stepped in. And today she has her own business. She doesn't just do it for herself. She has the ability to employ others. She has an apprentice, because we don't just give food, that's what you're thinking. We don't just give food. We don't just give fish. We also teach a man how to fish, which is a more sustainable approach to charity work, a more sustainable approach to helping people get on their feet. So today she is building a better future for herself and her community. Here is the story of Regina Ignatius Solomon.
In Nigeria, young women face a higher unemployment rate than men, 6.2% compared to 4.3%. Many dream of starting their own businesses but are held back by a lack of funding and resources. Meet Regina Solomon from Akwa Ibom State of Nigeria. After training as an apprentice, she had the skills but no capital to start. Thanks to Africa's Children's Fund, she received startup funds to rent a shop, buy a sewing machine, and launch her tailoring business.
I couldn't have the money to open the shop. It was when African Children's Fund came to support me. They give me the money to buy the machines, rent the shop, buy the material here. And now my shop is moving fine. Customers, they are coming now.
Today, Regina is not just a business owner, she's an employer, lifting others out of poverty. But she still needs support to scale her business and stay competitive. You can help Regina and many other young women achieve their dreams. Donate today to Africa's Children's Fund. Be the difference.
All right, welcome back. What a story. What a story. You see, when you give to someone like Regina Solomon, you know that you're not just helping a young lady, you're helping a community. Because not only is she doing this great, amazing tailoring work that she's doing, she's also providing employment for other people, and she's also contributing. And that's what we want. We want to help people to move from point A to B. That is what the ACF of Metro Atlanta is all about. That's what we're all about. Helping people to move from point A to B. Think about this. Have you ever felt hungry? I have. Have you ever been homeless? I have. Have you ever been in a place where you don't know where the next meal is coming from? I have. If you're not familiar with the rumbling of an empty stomach, you probably would just pass on this opportunity to bless someone. But if you are, and if you have been in a place of adversity when you don't have, if you've ever been without, you would understand that giving to people is a blessing by itself. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it doesn't matter whether it's big or small. Please, whatever you have, we are hoping that tonight you would send us something to help the people who truly need this help. And just before we went on that, we went to listen to Regina's story. Mr. Mbaba had mentioned that we started out with sending books to Africa, and that need is still there. And the reason I say that is because education is what helps a lot of people, which lifts a lot of people out of poverty. And if children have the ability to learn, but they don't have the resources, they don't still stand a chance in the world of today. In a world of today where even graduates are suffering, in Africa, we have a saying, if the fire is burning the tortoise that has a stone literally on its back, what would the fire do to the chicken that has feathers? Think about it. If people who are educated are still struggling, what about those who do not have access to education? Or they have access to education, but they cannot afford the books? That is where your help, whether it's $20, whether it's $1,000, whether it's $5,000, whether it's $100,000. You think if you give us $100,000, we won't take it? We will take it. But that would not probably go through Zelle. That one you need to reach out to us. But tonight, whatever it is that you have, whether it is big, whether it is small, please go ahead and send it across. That Zelle is Africa's Children's Fund, and it is vmbaba at Africa's Children's Fund. That is the email address that you need to use tonight. So we're still taking donations. And while we wind down a little bit, because of course, like I said, it's our very first edition, and everything that you are listening to, these are real people. These are real people with real issues. Some of them we have been able to help. We also want to let you know that we have helped more people in 32 years than we have shown you tonight on this broadcast. And we respect their rights. Some people say, even though you've helped me, I don't want to tell my story. And it goes back to For those of you who are Christians, you remember there were people that were saved, the lepers, right, who were made clean, and some came to testify, others did not. So we have the same situation in the world of nonprofit, and we respect that. But there are people who say, you know what, I am going to share my story. Perhaps somebody else would hear my story and give to this credible organization, and give to this organization that that has a long-standing reputation of helping others. Mr. Mbaba, I'm going to ask you one more time if we are able to get money tonight. Tell us about the people that you have interfaced with over the years. What are I wouldn't say typical people, because people would say, oh, that person looks like he doesn't need help. Oh, that person is so well put together, they don't need help. In your experience, how do you see, how do you recognize somebody that needs help? Is there a label on people's face that say, this somebody needs help?
No, there's no label. There's a real story, but we don't have all night to tell this story. I would have told the story. But since you injected the words label, and we would make a very huge mistake if we were to label anybody who might have needs. Why? Because, as I said earlier, that we thought and we prayed so hard that the needs that we saw in the world should be temporary. They are not. So I just had a young man, 46 years old, who was working at Metro Atlanta, going about his business, and suddenly realized he could not speak very well. So he called a transportation and to take him to Grady. And when they examined him very well, they realized that he has throat cancer. So they put something in his throat. He cannot speak very well. He has just completed 5 weeks of chemo and radiation. Automatically, he's not going back to work. So he has not worked for 6 or 7 weeks. And meanwhile, the rent needed to be paid. And he had to eat. Transportation to Grady and back. So if you saw this gentleman 7 weeks ago in a 3-piece suit, there's no way in the world you would have labeled him as somebody who would be in need. But that's not how the world is. So he was struck by illness that took away his ability to fend for himself, and he becomes needy. Those are the kind of persons that fall on our laps for us to help. Or someone experiencing divorce or laid off, as we're experiencing now in the country, or reduced employment. So all kinds of situations can put people on need. But the most beautiful thing that I like to share with all of us is that no condition is permanent. None. Because the person who is in need today might be a person who provides help for the needy tomorrow. You are hearing from one.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mbaba. That is so profound. And I agree with you 100%. And when I mentioned when I said something about, do we have a label that says this person needs help? I did not say that to say that there's any way that you would see someone and say this person needs help. And the reason I say that is because we all need help. Each one of us, we are just one situation or one mishap or one illness, God forbid, from needing help. And there is no such thing as a stereotypical or profiling or any kind of thing about people who need help. And when help arises, or when the need arises, that is when good people step up. That is when good people say, how can I help? Because just like Mr. Baba mentioned, there are people that look perfectly fine, but they are going through something. There are people who are perfectly fine, but they are going through something. That is why we're calling on to you today. Please, if you can, send that money through Zelle. Africa's Children's Fund is the name. And if you use that email address, vmbaba at Africa's Children's Fund, you are going to, the Zelle information will pop up. Send in whatever you can because you never know. You never know. We pray that you are never in a place where you need help. But if you do, we also pray that help will show up for you. Now, talking about our November 1st event, the gala, we have an international percussionist who is going to grace the event tonight on November 1st. So if you're going to come that day to come and help us raise money and come and network with the creme de la creme, there is definitely something that is worth looking forward to. Now we have a little trailer, a little, just a teaser of this young man who has traveled the world playing his congas, his bongos, his djembe, and everything African percussion. He is a dear friend of mine. I've come to know him over the years. He is like a younger brother to me, but he has done amazing work when it comes to his craft. He is the number one Afrobeat performer when it comes to percussions all over the Atlanta metro, and indeed, I dare to say the United States. Here is Prince Desekere Afar, also known as Ron the Tracks, who is going to be our main attraction this year at the gala.
Run the tracks. Sound it. Guys, if you're in Atlanta, if you're in Georgia, 1st of November, I am performing my first major performance this year. 1st of November at Evergreen Lakeside Resort, Stone Mountain. The event is called An Evening of Hope for Children. This is a major event and it's organized by ACF of Metro Atlanta. So pull up on me if you want to see a major performance. So many surprise outing, surprise costume, surprise guests, surprise everything. Pull up, it's about to be crazy. Shout out to ACF of Metro Atlanta. The venue is Evergreen Lakeside Resort in Stone Mountain. Tickets, $2,500 for the table, $250 per person. The energy god of Afrobeat music. Run the tracks. Sound it. It's about to be crazy that day. We're going crazy that day. So pull up on me. I ain't going to say so much. So pull up on me. Ooh.
Yep. All right. You heard him. It's going to be surprise performance, surprise costume, surprise this, surprise that. He is not joking. This young man, he is the party. He brings the party. All right. He's full of energy, and that's what the event is going to look like on November 1st. So if you don't want to miss it, all the information you can find it on our website acfma.org. You can also follow us on Instagram. It's ACF of Metro Atlanta. On Facebook, ACF of Metro Atlanta. On TikTok, it's ACF of Metro Atlanta. And even on LinkedIn, it's ACF of Metro Atlanta. You can follow us on our socials. And please let us know what you think by emailing us directly at info@acfma.org. Now, as we begin to wind down just a little bit, I will still call on you again to please go ahead and make that donation. If you haven't done so, please make that donation because we really appreciate you. And if you're just joining us, this is the Hope Effect, our very first. It's our very first event of this nature where we are going to reach out to you and have you, send us whatever you can through Zelle so we can continue the work that we have been doing for the past 32 years. And please don't hesitate. If the Spirit is leading you to give us $500, go ahead and do that. If it is $1,000, go ahead and do that. Do not argue with the Spirit. Amen. Do not argue with the Spirit. Go ahead and send that money. We do appreciate you. Mr. Mbala, as we are winding up, is it wind up or wind down? Anyways, after 5 o'clock, my English is a little bit suspicious, so bear with me. So we are winding down. I just want to ask, what would be your parting words for people who do not know the work that we do and the significance, especially in times like this, where there have been a lot of layovers, of layoffs rather. There have been a lot of layoffs. There's been a lot of people who are recently introduced to the unemployment queue. What would be your word for people who have never experienced, who have never given to ACF? What would be your word to them?
First of all, I want to thank you for taking us through 1 hour, 30 minutes in a fun way, in an engaging way. And also for Brother Dennis, the engineer behind the scene. Thank you so much. And of course, for all other persons joining, thank all of you. My word for tonight is that we need to stay hopeful. We need to stay with love in our heart, extending love to one another, because that's the ultimate. And as I said, that no condition on the planet is permanent. And anyone who is in need today might be the person helping the needy, or it can go the other way around. So nothing on this planet is for granted. Let's always live forever grateful for wherever we are. But again, when we are blessed and we have surplus, it is important that we share with those who have very little. And that is the essence of our work. So whether you are able to make a donation tonight or you'll make it tomorrow, our work stays for a long time. We've been around for 32 years, and we're going to stay another 32 years and beyond. And if you ever thought about how to make a difference in the life of anyone, you don't have to start your own nonprofit. You could if you want. But when we started Africa's Children's Fund, now ACF of Metro Atlanta, we started an organization that was big enough to include anyone who wanted to join in to make a difference. So on that note, I want to bid you farewell, good night, and to wish you a very peaceful and successful week ahead. Thank you.
Much. Thank you, Mr. Mbava. And I want to thank you all for joining us this evening on the very first virtual fundraiser for ACF of Metro Atlanta. My name is Victor Ayara. It has been my absolute delight to be the host of this first edition. And I just want to also thank you, Mr. Mbava, too, for all that you have done, all that you are doing, and all that you will continue to do. And Mr. Dennis Ubom of Afro Pulse, I appreciate you. Thank you for all the help. And this is where we say adios, amigos. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. Until we come your way with another edition of this fundraiser. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.